everyone. Welcome back to the Energia podcast. We have lots of fun here at this Energia podcast talking about innovative ways school districts are transforming their energy liabilities into educational assets. Hey, I'm your host, Kenley Davenport, and I have along with me my co-host, Kendra McQuilton. Hey, Kendra, how are you today?
Hey, I'm great, Kenley. Hi, everyone. Welcome back.
Well, today we have a very interesting topic, Kendra, to talk about because I know that both of us have been talking to many superintendents and business officials throughout the United States. And what often comes up in our conversations is air quality. I know it's a big subject because of COVID. And recently we put on our website and in all of our social media posts this really great article from NPR that talked about better air in classroom matters beyond COVID. So I just wanted to get some of your thoughts about, the whole COVID experience and ventilation as it relates to classrooms and learning environments.
Sure, Kenley. And, it's never been more of a popular topic. And I think that's a really good thing for school districts. Oftentimes, things that we can't see or necessarily feel go unaddressed. And what we've known as engineers is that, going into public school buildings and, assessing these types of systems is that it's really an endemic problem in school districts that they don't have adequate ventilation or HVAC controls. And, it goes back to when a lot of these buildings were built. They weren't up to what today's code is for ventilation and things like that. So one of the positive things I think that came out of the pandemic is it really shined a light on the problem that we have with our public school buildings needing more attention and more funding for capital upgrades that have to do with HVAC and ventilation in particular.
Well, I think, as we see from the government's pandemic response, and particularly Biden's national COVID-19 preparedness plan, a lot of that has to do with helping schools upgrade their ventilation systems and using some of the funds from the American Rescue Plan Act. I mean, we've been seeing that a lot, haven't we?
We have, and the desire is definitely there. That's unquestionable that, especially now at this point, it's very clear that school districts need to really pay close attention to their HVAC systems. And several of our clients were able to incorporate some of the COVID relief funding into existing energy performance contracts that we already had underway that we were designing, and they were able to supplement those projects with funds that came through that program. So it was a great way to expeditiously spend that money on long-term benefits for the school district and for the students. Unfortunately, there are very aggressive timelines that go along with the spending of that money. And so, a lot of districts are concerned about that. Should we go forward with allocating funds to these projects when we know how long they take under regular circumstances? So, but one of the good things is that if you're doing an energy performance contract, you can build those funds into an energy performance contract, kind of use it as a grant, expand the project. And because it's a turnkey delivery method, we're able to more expeditiously use those funds in accordance with the timelines that the government has imposed.
Yeah, I'm also noticing that lots of school districts in our conversations have submitted plans for their funds, but in reality, a lot of the technical details haven't been thought through or worked out yet. So I think that's an area for which if they already have known needs or what have you, they have a good chance of using an advisory firm to help them figure out how to combine all these funds together, because we're seeing this often.
Absolutely. Schools have more money, I think, now than they've ever had, and it's new territory for a lot of them in just how to apply it all, how to allocate it all properly and according to the rules. And even if you, as a school district, didn't get a lot of this funding, what the great thing about performance contracts is that you don't have to rely on any funding at all. in order to make progress on improving your HVAC systems, that the EPC actually is funded by the energy savings that those upgrades themselves will yield. So what we really love about the concept is that it puts the district in the driver's seat. You can control when you do a project, how you fund the project. There's not a ton of different parties involved where, you got to wait on this agency or that agency. You can really take control of making the improvements that you need to make on your own timeline with your own funding.
That's excellent. One of the things that struck me in the article, and I want to read a quote from the article in just a second, really has to do with the overall health and safety of everyone that works in classrooms, whether it be the kids in their learning or the teachers and paraprofessionals in their supporting that learning. That I think one of the things that COVID has really highlighted that I think we've always known but really didn't do much about was the overall health and safety of students. Again, the quote that it struck me was, when a room is better ventilated, flu rates, asthma attacks, and absenteeism goes down, reading and math scores go up, and less carbon dioxide builds up in the room, which helps students think more clearly. That was what the research had indicated and what the article had talked a lot about. I just think that this is a really important topic to make sure that schools, and they're thinking about their long-range plans, are thinking about their overall health and safety, as well as just, better temperatures and COVID-19 per se.
Yeah, absolutely, Kenley. I mean, the evidence is enormous, and it's really undisputed that the learning environment itself can either enhance and be in alignment with or undermine the administration's efforts to help students succeed. And I think we're finally turning a corner with everyone really starting to acknowledge that this is not just, a facilities department issue. This has to do with the highest level at the school district. And if your classrooms are not in alignment with good air quality, good lighting, good heating, ventilation, every day when those students come in, they're going to be struggling more than they might have needed to, if everything was what it should be. So I think that we're starting to see a lot of superintendents take this matter more seriously now and actually make it an actionable part of their strategic plan, because it is so important that our nation's children have a safe and clean environment every day when they go into school.
Well, thank you, Kendra. I think that's a great way to sum up this EnergiaSaves podcast, because nothing is more important than the health and safety of kids, and also, their long-term success and growing and becoming great citizens of our country. So I want to thank you for your insights and for us being able to share what we gained from that article and how our experience in working in this industry is really sort of collided together in this very important time. So thanks again for being here as my co-host. I just want to thank everyone for joining us today. Remember, if you have any types of questions, feel free to send us questions that we can try to answer on our EnergiaSaves podcast at questions@energiasaves.com. And we look forward to having you on the next episode. Thanks a lot for coming.
Thanks, everybody.